Brønner, Chairman Grimson, Excellencies, Ministers, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great honor to speak on behalf of the Inuit Circumpolar Council at this year's Arctic Circle Assembly once again. It's good to see you all. Thank you for being here. Not least, it is my great honor to join this esteemed panel of Arctic Indigenous leaders who, like the Inuit Circumpolar Council, have influenced and led Arctic governance and policy making for decades. Our organizations are permanent participants to the Arctic Council, which we co-founded in 1996. The Arctic Council brings together the 8 Arctic states and 6 indigenous peoples' organizations in a unique governance structure, a governance structure we must protect and further develop. As we have stated before, there is no Arctic Council without Arctic indigenous peoples. I want to bring a clear message to this assembly. Times are difficult. Nothing is business as usual, but the Arctic Council is intact, and it should remain intact. No one has left the table. Following its rules of procedures, the Arctic Council is reactivating. And I want to commend the Norwegian Arctic Council chairship for steering through the rough waters with the aim of continued people-to-people and cross-border collaboration. We look forward to supporting and partnering in the preparations of the incoming Greenlandic, Danish, and Faroese chairship under the Kingdom of Denmark within the next couple of years. Arctic indigenous peoples are the original inhabitants of our region, and we bear with us a deeply rooted spiritual, cultural, and all kinds of connection to the nature around us. We have safeguarded our nature, our ways of lives, and continue to develop our own futures through participating on the national, regional, and international arena. Already in 1973, Arctic indigenous peoples met for the first time, and from then we have stood shoulder by shoulder. In 1973, our representatives called for the establishment of a circumpolar body of collaboration. And the Arctic Council is just one of many examples of how Arctic indigenous peoples influence and achieve invaluable milestones through building international relations. This summer, representatives of the 5 organizations present on the stage here today met in Ilulissat Galaslit Nunat, where we commemorated the first Arctic Peoples Conference, a 50th anniversary of our collaboration. Here we celebrated our original foresight and unity. Above all, we reaffirmed our inherent right of self-determination as distinct peoples through a joint statement highlighting our interdependent, interrelated, interconnected, and indivisible rights, including our right to self-determination as the prerequisite for the exercise and enjoyment of all our human rights. We invite you all to read the 2023 Arctic Peoples Conference Joint Statement. And a few weeks ago, we gathered again in Sápmi in Norway, this time to prepare for the upcoming UNFCCC COP28. Climate change continues to be the biggest threat to our existence and well-being as peoples. Last year, I invited all assembly participants to feel the strength on an individual basis and a collective basis to act on climate change. Dear friends, the 1.5 degrees Celsius so-called target should not be seen as a target, but as the edge beyond which we will reach a point of no return, of the coastal erosion that is eating away our communities, the wildfires diminishing our lands, and the melting of permafrost swallowing our infrastructure, and not least the ice on which we depend and how it disappears. At the upcoming COP, just transition and climate justice, as well as climate finance, will dominate the agendas. So, Excellencies, this year, I challenge all to reflect on the concept of justice. We must ask ourselves, justice for whom? I want to paraphrase the words of the youth delegates, 15 youth delegates that participated in this year's Arctic Peoples Conference, when they stated that there can be no actions taken in the name of a greater good if it violates the human rights of indigenous peoples. So in conclusion, I call on all of us to join forces and make sure that this upcoming COP28 will be clear on inclusion of a human rights approach, also in its outcome document. A step back taken last year when the wording on human rights was taken out of the outcome document. So, dear friends, we have a lot to talk about, and I look forward to our panel. And we will hold a session on Saturday morning where we will show more nice pictures from 73, but also talk more in depth about the achievements of our organizations representing our peoples throughout 50 years of collaboration.
Thank you, Sara.